Hey guys, it's Daniel, licensed therapist. Michael Jordan, Tom Brady, Wayne Gretzky, John Jones, Messi, Kobe, Usain Bolt, Michael Phelps, LeBron James. Of all those great athletes, there's one that doesn't quite fit, and that one is LeBron James. And it's not because of his cartoonish athleticism.
Chalmers, Cole, James! James on the drive!
Turn its corner inside! Nice fake by James.
Oh, Wade finds James!
Or his Sean McVay-like photographic memory and sports IQ.
I mean, I think they scored 7 quick ones. Anything, what happened there?
What happened? We ran them the first possession. We ran them down all the way to 2 on the shot clock. Marcus Morris missed a jump shot, followed it up. They got a dunk. We came back down. We ran a set for Jordan Clarkson, and he came off and missed it. They rebounded it. And we came back on the defensive end, and we got a stop. They took it out on the sideline. Jason Tatum took the ball out, threw it to Marcus Smart in the short corner. He made a 3. We come back down, missed another shot. And then Tatum came down and went 94 feet, did a Euro step, and made a right-hand layup timeout. There you go.
Or his record-breaking longevity.
My group chats, all we were talking about was how incredible LeBron was. And we see him here, but I want that graphic. Year 21 LeBron and what he's doing. And Vince, I promise you this is not try to diminish your year 21. But when you compare what LeBron is doing at this part of his career to guys like Vince and Robert Parrish, it is staggering to see what, I mean, Vince, I just want you to take us in. Like, you're second on that list. How did you feel in your year 21 and to think about what he's doing now?
And it's not even his ridiculous leadership that makes him a leader amongst leaders.
And we actually had a meeting, and the guys was like, what y'all want to do? Y'all want to shut this down? And everybody was looking at LeBron. Like, so
What's
we
good,
all
bro?
in the room. CJ's hosting the damn meeting, and they like, what y'all want to do? So you got every team in this room, and once they said, all right, everybody vote, we're gonna let y'all talk to y'all team for about 10 minutes, and we'll come back in. We'll say, everybody say what y'all want to do. Majority, that's what we doing. When I say, nobody discussed. All did was look to us like,
Whoa.
hey, what the Lakers doing, man? What you doing, 6?
No, it's actually the fact that amongst all the people on the list, he is the one person that didn't have a father. And as a therapist, seeing someone achieve what he has without a father, to me, that's an anomaly. When I started working as a therapist, I worked with children in foster homes and in group homes. So I know the kind of childhood that LeBron James has gone through, and I know what it can do to a person. So today, let's take a look at LeBron James and see if we can understand how he became who he became. Let's get into it.
Not only did I wanted to inspire to be a basketball player and or a football player professionally to get my mom out of the situation, I wanted to have kids early to prove to my father that the way you did it was the absolute wrong way to do it. And I wanted to break the mold to where I want to be there and give him all the life skills, man. I want to, tell him this is what your dad went through. This is how you approach it. This is how you go through it.
Whenever I have a kid, not only is he gonna be a junior, I'm gonna do everything that this man didn't do. They're gonna experience things that I didn't experience. The only thing I can do is give them the blueprint, and it's up to them to take their own course whenever that time happens.
All you can do and hope at the end of the road is that you've given your kids enough life lessons to where when it's time for them to live their life, then they can flourish on their own.
I wouldn't pick my kids to stop playing ball, but I will stop ball to make sure my kids are straight.
So it's clear that LeBron has a very, very, very heavy emphasis on family. And to me, that's a little surprising considering what he went through in his childhood. Because his father sent him a message, a very powerful one, which is kids aren't that important. And he got that message because he didn't see LeBron as important enough to stick around. So you know what that tells me? LeBron must have gotten a counter to that message, and that counter must have been very, very powerful. And I think we could look no further than his mother. Hey, I wasn't there during his childhood. I don't know the intimate moments between him and his mother or what she told him every day, but I do think that this clip is pretty telling.
I didn't get into an argument with an AAU dad. I got in an argument with an AAU mom.
What? A mother?
With a mother.
Lord have mercy.
And you want to know the first person I apologized to? Was my mom that was sitting right here. And the reason I apologized to my mom, because I used to get on my mom so much.
Oh, yes,
when I was a kid and she used to go crazy at my AAU game, I used to be like, Mom, chill out, Mom, I don't want this. And I went crazy about my kids. And I was like,
You felt her pain.
I was like, Mom,
You did the
I'm
same
sorry.
thing. The cycle.
I'm sorry.
But also LeBron takes his experience, or maybe lack of experience with his dad, and he turns it around and he says to himself, I'm gonna be a great dad. I'm gonna be the dad to my kids that my dad never was to me. And as a therapist, I would say that it happens, but it's more rare. And I would say the more common thing to happen is, hey, my dad left me. I wasn't that important. He's probably looking out for himself. I'm gonna look out for myself. And that type of framework often is passed down from generation to generation. So how LeBron changed it around and broke that pattern, I think is very impressive.
You feel that you're never going to make it out. You feel like the statistics are built up against you. You feel like the system is built against you to not succeed. You feel like there's no way that you're ever going to have an opportunity for your dreams to become a reality.
So you see what I'm talking about? This is how I expect someone to think with LeBron's background. He doesn't really believe that he can make it out. No one ever makes it out. Sure, he wants to be the greatest because, well, everyone has that dream, but does he truly believe it? Well, I guess if you're this 6'8" freak athlete, it does really help. But I think we all intuitively know that being good at something doesn't necessarily mean you're gonna believe you're the greatest. What you need is that mindset and that mentality that's gonna produce behavior that's gonna result in you being the best. And it seems like that's what LeBron did, because if you look at LeBron's life, it seems like he meticulously curated his life and made a lot of thoughtful, important decisions to cause his life to be the way that it is. And I'm sort of wondering, as someone in mental health, where did that mentality come from? How did he do that? Because if you ask me, the deck was stacked against him.
Away from it. As far as being an NBA player, how to approach it, how your body and things of that nature, how do you continue to, stay consistent? I've learned all of that on my own, all on the fly, because I never had somebody that I could go to. So, and nobody ever kind of lended their hand to me. And so I've kind of just figured it out.
Dude, what? Just figured it out? I feel like the more we dig, it just gets crazier and crazier. But this reminds me of another all-time great sportsman, Mike Tyson. He also did not have a father figure, but there was somebody that came into his life that changed everything, and in my opinion, saved his life. And if you want to check that out and make a video about it here. But to have no real significant mentor or father figure is to me so insane, because there are people with the talent and the father figure and or the mentor that make all the crazy mistakes. And so I would expect LeBron to make all those crazy mistakes too. I expect scandals with women. I expect illegitimate children. I expect gambling. I expect partying, drinking, and drugs to the extent that it would compromise his ability to play basketball. I expect being lazy. I expect being lackadaisical, because when you're such a freak athlete and you're growing up and you're just physically dominating the other kids, you really don't need to practice. And I also expect spending to the point of being financially compromised. But none of this happened. He just kept his head down. He worked hard. He played basketball. He focused on his family, his wife and his children, and he made good business decisions. So for me, guys, it's not really adding up.
I want to try to continue to get better as a leader and as a player every day.
Work your butt off. Try to be better than you were yesterday, every single day. Commit to the game.
Short-term goal, we want to just continue to get better every night.
I'm not going to guarantee no championship. I'll tell you that. I'm just going to I'm guarantee that we get better every day. And that's the thing that you guys don't see. That comes from practice. Sometimes you're at practice, but sometimes you're not. I just know that we're gonna get better every day, and we're gonna be a lot better team than last year. I can guarantee that.
My mindset is how we can be great today and how we can maximize today for either the next game, for the next road trip, for the next film session, for the next practice, for the next bus ride, plane ride. Like, you know, I have that mentality of if we can maximize today, then it makes the next challenge that much more easy for us.
So for this video, I watched a good amount of LeBron James interviews, and he says this over and over and over as if it was drilled into his head. And I don't know where it came from, but somehow this particular message got drilled into his head. Just get better every day. And I actually love that belief in that mantra for two reasons. First of all, it demonstrates an internal locus of control. He is focusing on what he can control. He cannot deliver a championship. He can't be the greatest ever and promise that. But what he can do is work really hard. And if he does that, he will get better every day. And the reason why that is so important, because there is only one greatest ever. And it takes so much to get someone to that point that there's a lot of factors that you just can't control. And so what he did was focus on what he can control so that he would feel powerful instead of powerless, because there's so many things out there influencing this outcome. I think it's a very smart thing that he did. And the second thing I like about getting better every day is it demonstrates LeBron's insane focus and discipline. In fact, I think that his focus and discipline is just as impressive as how high he can jump. Because when you're young and you're poor and you have a single mom and she's counting on you to make it, I would say it's pretty easy to be disciplined. But when you have $100 million sitting in your bank account, it becomes exponentially harder. And I think a good example of this is Zion Williamson. A lot of people think that Zion Williamson may be even more physically gifted than LeBron James. But you know what? He can't control his weight. He can't control what goes in his mouth. And I look at LeBron and I'm thinking that easily could have been him, but it wasn't.
You've talked about how important being a dad is to you, and you've been open about the fact that that's partly because you didn't know your father growing up. You want to be the opposite. I was still pretty surprised, I got to tell you, to see your Instagram post from earlier this year. You basically wrote a note to your dad, and you said, you know what, I don't know you, I have no idea who you are, but because of you is part of the reason I am who I am today. The fuel that I use, you not being there, it's part of the reason I grew up to become who I am. What made you decide to go out like that?
I don't know, but I think it's the truth. I think, you know, my whole life growing up, I think I just kind of always said, why me? You know, why me? Why didn't my dad want to be around? I feel like I'm a pretty cool kid. I'm a good kid. Why wouldn't he want to be around for me? And then as I got older and kind of had my own family, I started to think, you know, the reason he wasn't there is the reason why I became so strong mentally, so loving to my mother. And I am who I am today because he wasn't there, because I use it as motivation. Everything that I've gained, he has a role in that because I used it.
He even acknowledged and dedicated to his mom, and it fueled his performance to some extent. Have there been any times where you've used things that are going on in your personal life to help enhance your performance? Maybe use basketball as a sanctuary or anything along those lines?
Yeah, my childhood. I use it every day. I use it every day. It's using me every day. Knowing where I come from, knowing the obstacles that I had to get by, knowing the circumstances, you know, where I come from. You know, so it fuels me every day.
All right, this is good information. I think it's a piece of the puzzle. And yes, people use the absent father to fuel them, and that's what LeBron James does. Like I said, it is a little more unusual, but it does happen. But hey, this does not explain it for me. As a therapist, I sit down with a client and I get to ask all the questions I want in order to figure out why a person is the way that they are. And most times, a great majority of the time, it's very successful. It's pretty easy to see how someone came to be. But with LeBron, I just feel like we don't have that. There's so much that is missing. And I watch, like I said, a lot of LeBron interviews in order to prepare for this video. But you know what mostly LeBron says? He gives cliches and he gives that sports talk gobbledygook. I want to be the greatest and I dedicate my life to my craft. That kind of stuff. It's nothing crazy insightful, nothing that really explains how he got here. You know, it kind of makes me think that maybe LeBron doesn't even know and he might not have that insight into himself. So if that's the case, I think it might be good for LeBron to sit down with a therapist. Not that he needs to, but if he wanted to, figure out exactly how he was able to overcome and be so successful. But if you were to ask me to give a little summary of LeBron's mentality and how he got there, I would say you have to start with the disenfranchised, hungry to make it inner city kid, add in a really great mom, put in a dash of sticking it to the absent father, and then you have your foundation. But that's just a small part because I think the most of it is this amazing convergence of unimaginable physical gifts, very, very impressive intellect, insane discipline and focus, and this emotional and mental strength that you just don't find in a lot of people. So, you know, as impressive as he is physically, I would say that mentally and emotionally, he is even more impressive. I don't know, guys. Maybe he is just the chosen one. But that's my thoughts on LeBron James. Guys, if you like this, consider liking and subscribing. And if you have something you want me to react to, leave it in the comments down there. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you next time.